بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا وهدى وتقى ورشادا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم فقهنا في الدين وعلمنا التأويل. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع ومن قلب لا يخشع ومن نفس لا تشبع ومن دعوة لا تسمع. نعوذ بك اللهم من هؤلاء الأربعة. أما بعد، حياكم الله جميعا في الدرس السابع في شرح مختصر النحو المفيد للمبتدئ فيه والمعيد. كنا قد وقفنا أمس عند انقسام الضمير إلى أقسام عدة، وقلنا إن الضمير إما أن يكون بارزا وإما أن يكون مستترا. والضمير البارز إما أن يكون متصلا وإما أن يكون منفصلا. طبعا ما معنى متصل؟ What's the meaning of متصل يا إخوان؟
attached to or joined to.
أحسنت بارك الله فيك. ما معنى المنفصل؟ separate. أحسنت. فالمتصل قلنا إنه إما أن يكون مرفوعا أو أن يكون منصوبا أو مجرورا، وأما المنفصل فكذلك هو المرفوع والمنصوب. yesterday الحمد لله we did متصل مرفوع بارز متصل مرفوع. طبعا بارز means apparent, it's something that can be seen, it's not concealed, it's not hidden. So we practice متصل مرفوع and we practice مستتر, which were all parts of verb conjugates. So inshallah this today بإذن الله تعالى, when I share the template with you, you can just fill it up with different أفعال. And this ضمير متصل مرفوع and ضمير مستتر will all be covered, especially if along with writing these down, if you focus on pointing out the fi'l. So if you are writing with with this unicolored pen مثلا, so then you can just underline the word, underline the letter that you believe is the fa'il. So مثلا فعلت, underline the ta or circle it for yourself so that you can identify what is the fa'il. If you do it from this stage itself, it's going to be very helpful at the later stages inshallah. But if you don't do it right now, then later on it will be difficult for you to identify the fi'l, where it is and when it is a fi'l, when it is not a fi'l. And مثلا later on you might get confused that in fa'alat the ta is the fa'il. So it's very nice, it will be very beneficial if you start pointing out the fa'il from this this stage onwards. طيب, now let us move on to المتصل المنصوب والمجرور. طيب, الآن يا إخوان if you go back to the this classification chart, so where are we right now? We're done with this and we're done with this. Now we move on to this منصوب مجرور. متصل, that is منصوب مجرور, and then inshallah we'll do منفصل. That's what we will be doing inshallah today بإذن الله تعالى. Okay, now going back to where we were. بسم الله. طيب, الآن الضمائر المتصلة المنصوبة والمجرورة. Now, what is the meaning of منصوب? منصوب, to put it in English, the objective form. To put it in English, here منصوب is referring to the objective form. And the example of which, since the beginning of these durus, we have mentioned as مثلا him, her, I saw her, I saw him, instead of saying I saw he, I saw she. And majroor, like in English, when you use a preposition, you will say I took this pen from him. You don't say I took this pen from he. I took this pen from her. I am with him. I am with her. طيب, كذلك I am going to talk to him and I'm going to talk to her. So with the prepositions, you find in Arabic as well as in English, the pronouns that are used are the same. These are called objective pronouns, right? I saw him, I saw her, I'll talk to him, from him, with him, on him, on her, هكذا. عرفتم يا شباب? With prepositions. So likewise in Arabic, when it comes to the prepositions, and which are حروف الجر, these prepositions are called حروف الجر, and that they're exactly the same as those in English, almost, except with the exception of few. So مثلا on in Arabic is ala, so you will use a particular or the same the same pronoun as you use it with the in the objective form, that is with some fi'l. طيب. Let's analyze these examples that are mentioned here. طيب. With regard to the fi'l, in order for us to not get confused, I only used one type of fi'l, that is daraba. And what is this daraba? The daraba here is masculine singular third person. See, if I ask you to point out for me from this table which fi'l or which form am I using it with the objective pronouns, so can someone point out for me which form is it from this table? Where is it? And one you can annotate as well. Can you just point out from this table what is the form of daraba? What will be the place of daraba in this table?
فعل.
Which one am I? فعل. أحسنت. Third person غائب, singular مفرد, مذكر, and ماضي. This is what I'm using. So this is what I'm using. Okay, this is the form that I use. Why? Because it's the simplest form. It does not contain fa'al, tuma, ta, tu, na, tum, wow, nothing. It doesn't contain anything. So it's simple to apply. That is why we are using this. It doesn't mean that these af'al or those examples cannot work with fa'al tu, cannot work with fa'alna, cannot work with fa'al ta, fa'al tuma, na. This is not what it means. What it means is that because why I'm using it, because this is the simplest form. It does not contain any additions. That is why. That's the only reason. Now, I'll inshallah clarify this further as we move on. So daraba. Now, if you want to say that someone hit me, myself, you see, that's the mudhakkar, masculine, singular, first person. Okay. We're not taking the tenses into consideration here because the tenses do not have anything to do with the pronoun. Now, if you take mudari', it will still remain the ya. If you use the past tense daraba, it will remain a ya. If you use the present tense yadribuni, it will remain a ya. So the tenses now do not have any sort of effect on the ya. So that is why here we only took three factors into consideration. First, second, third person. That's the first factor. Second factor was the gender. And the third one was singular, plural, or dual. That's the only things that we are taking into consideration here. Now if you want to say someone hit me, how will you say darabani? Where is the pronoun here? Where is the fi'l first of all? And where is the pronoun? Also tell me where is the fa'il. Just before you answer, let me just point out for you. And this sentence, darabani, has 3 to 4 things. It has a fi'l, that's the verb. It has a fa'il, that's the doer, the one who did the fi'l. And then we have an addition, maf'ul, because the maf'ul, which is the object. What is an object? For those who do not remember, for me, I kick the ball. The ball is the object, kick is the verb, and I is the subject. Okay, so that's what maf'ul is. It's object. An object in Arabic is always mansoob. Mansoob, always. Okay, so that is why we are learning dama'ir mansooba. And with regards to dama'ir majroora, we use only one preposition, that is min. Min means from, as an example. Otherwise, it can be used with ala, it can be used with ila, it can be used with anything else. Okay, this is just for the initial learning. All of this, inshallah, we'll be learning later on. So when I'm asking you the question related to darabani, then I want 3 things. I want the fi'l, the fa'il, and the maf'ul. So where is the fi'l in darabani? Where is the fa'il? And where is the maf'ul?
ضربني بالفعل is
The fi'l is daraba. Okay, ممتاز. The fi'l is daraba. All right, where is the fa'il?
فاعل is hidden.
The fa'il is hidden. So if you look back at the previous table, you will find that fa'ala had fa'il ضمير مستتر تقديره هو. The fa'il is ضمير مستتر تقديره هو. طيب. Where is the maf'ul? The object, someone upon whom the fi'l is being applied. Ni. طيب. So it's not actually the whole of ni, rather is tayyah. Okay, now let me explain this to you. In darabani, you have daraba plus noon plus ya. Okay? Okay. This here, barakallahu fikum, is the fa'il. Okay? The fa'il is hidden, that is huwa, this is hidden in daraba. Then this here is the maf'ul. As for the noon, it's an additional letter, and it is called noon al-wiqayah. What is the meaning of wiqayah? Means protection. Protection from what? It differentiates between maf'ul and something that is mudaf ilayh. Mudaf ilayh means the one you attribute something to, in terms of its an ownership, something that belongs to it. So for example, if you have a pen, if you want to say in Arabic, my pen, what do you say? How will you say my pen in Arabic?
Qalami.
Qalami. Is there any noon here?
No.
There is noon. But when you want to say someone hit me, you say daraba, darabi wala darabani?
Darabani.
Darabani.
So this is the noon that it sort of differentiates between when it is mudaf ilayh and when it is fi'l and fi'l and maf'ul. Okay, that's what it does. When it comes, especially when it comes to the ya. When it comes to ya. Does anyone know any other function of noon al-wiqayah? I just have a fear that I might be not very accurate when I'm mentioning the difference or its function. It is noon al-wiqayah, but is that the function of noon al-wiqayah, or there's something else as well? I just have a little bit of a doubt if that exactly is the function or not, or there's more. على كل حال إن شاء الله أراجع وأخبركم. لكن it's called noon al-wiqayah, so it's an additional letter. It's not part of the it's not part of the verb. It's not part of the maf'ul bihi. Is it to protect the structure of the word verb? That's a good point as well. Yes, it can be, because then ya would force the verb to have a kasra, and that is again, that's another thing. Another point. I'll have to refer back to the book, inshallah, books, and get back to you on this, on the noon al-wiqayah. So I might not be very accurate here when it comes to its function. It is called noon al-wiqayah. It's called noon of protection. But what protection does it provide? This needs to be looked into. طيب. المهم. نعود. ضربني. Now when it comes to ضربنا, طيب, where is the fi'l? Where is the fa'il? Where is the maf'ul?
فعل ضربة فعل فاعل ضمير مسلم تقديره هو.
And where is the maf'ul?
مفعول could you say na?
The na, all of the na is maf'ul. Here we don't have noon al-wiqayah, okay? The whole of the na is the maf'ul. The whole of the na is maf'ul. طيب. This is for, how will you say darabana in English? If you want to translate this.
He hit us.
He hit us. Mumtaz. طيب. So this is us is used for two people, muthanna, dual, as well as plural. Both of them. Darabana. طيب مني مني طيب مني where is the preposition, where is the حرف جر, and where is the مجرور word, the ضمير مجرور. Where is the preposition?
The preposition is min,
And where is
and
the مجرور ضمير?
the majority is ni. So possibly there
Yeah,
could be two
the
noun.
it's just the yeah. Okay, can you translate minni in English?
With me.
From me,
From me. طيب minna, can you translate minna in English?
From us.
from
From
us.
us. أحسنت. And in from us we have min, that is from, and then na, that is us. Because I couldn't يعني separate the two noons. يعني noon shadda means there are two noons. One noon belongs to the min, the other noon belongs to the na. طيب ممتاز. Okay, ضربك. How will you translate ضربك?
He hit you.
He hit you. أحسنت. Where is the فعل? Where is the فاعل? Where is the مفعول?
فعل is ضرب. فاعل
ضرب is the
ضمير
word.
مستتر.
فاعل ضمير مستتر تقديره هو. Where is the one who is being hit?
ka.
ممتاز. This is the مفعول. أحسنت. طيب. منك. How do you translate منك?
From you.
From you. أحسنت. طيب. Where is the preposition? Where is the حرف جر?
حرف جر is min.
من. طيب. And where is the مجرور word? ضمير.
مجرور is ka.
is the ka. ممتاز. خلاص. طيب. ضربكما. طبعا I forgot to make this in red color. يعني this needs to be corrected. ضربكما. Where is the فعل? Where is the فاعل? Where is the مفعول? Or first of all, what is the translation of ضربكما?
He hit you. Two of
He
you.
hit you. أحسنت. He hit the two of you. ممتاز. Where is the فعل? Where is the فاعل? And where is the مفعول?
فعل is ضرب. فاعل ضمير مستتر تقديره هو.
Where is the مفعول?
المفعول.
كما. That's the مفعول. ضربكما. كما is the مفعول. منكما. طيب من is the حرف جر and كما is the ضمير مجرور. ضربكم. How do you translate ضربكم?
He hit you.
He hit you all. He hit you all. أحسنت. So ضرب is the فاعل. The فاعل is ضمير مستتر تقديره هو, and كم is the مفعول. من, again the preposition حرف جر, and then this is the ضمير مجرور. Likewise here we come to ضربه. What is the translation of ضربه?
He hit him.
He hit him. أحسنت. So ضرب the فاعل. فاعل is هو, and the ها is the مفعول به. وهكذا ضربهما. He hit them both. ضربهم. He hit them all. هكذا. Now let's come to the مؤنث. And the مؤنث is the females, the feminine nouns. They are treated a little bit different when it comes to the متكلم, the first person. It's the same. The first person is the same. When it comes to second person, instead of saying ضربك, you will say ضربك, منك. ضربكما remains the same. It remains the same. ضرب كنا instead of ضربكم. So kum becomes kunna. You see, ضرب كنا, ضرب من كن. Okay. When it comes to the third person, ضربه becomes ضربها. منه becomes منها. طيب. ضربهما remains the same, just like in the previous occasion, and hum becomes hunna. So you see, يعني when it comes to the jam' in the masculine nouns, we add a meme. In feminine nouns, we add a noon shadda. طيب. So here we said ضربكم, ضربهم. Here we are saying ضربكن, ضربهن, وهكذا. You see, that's the thing that we are adding here. Here we add a meme for jam'. Here we add a noon shadda with a fatha for jam', for the females. When it comes to the dual forms, it remains the same. When it comes to the singular forms, the kaf has a kasra and the hu becomes a ha. واضح يا إخوان? This is clear inshallah?
Yes, Sheikh.
As long as the concept is considered, it should be inshallah clear. But it will be of absolutely no use if no practice is done. If we don't practice this, then all of this will be of no use. Here, our job during the lesson is to clear our concepts. But the lesson will not guarantee for you that you can bring this all into use. It will not guarantee for you that any of these bits of information will be remembered by you after a day or two. The only thing that it depends on after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's tawfiq is that you practice it. If you don't practice it, the last couple of lessons are a total waste of time. You see? So if you don't practice and you don't write it down, then this will be of no use. And you don't really have a lot of time to start practicing. And you can say, I'll do it on the weekend or I'll do it after a couple of weeks. It's best to get control of it when it is fresh. So right now it's fresh. If you start practicing now, you can, inshallah, get hold of it very well. If you don't practice right now, wallah, you're going to have a tough time. It's going to be a very tough time with this. Best way to do this, best way to practice, after you have filled these tables individually, the best exercise that you can have is to do the following. Take some sentences. So, مثلا, take various sentences, like write for yourself, he hate me. They all hate him. I hate them all. Just vary it. She hate them both. They all, and this is for females, they all hate them both. And when you use these various sentences, you will know which fi'l you have to select, which form, which conjugate you have to select from the previous table for she hit. And then you will also have to select the proper pronoun from this table in order to use it for the meaning of them both. So this will be the most effective way, and I really hope that I'm able to give you such sentences which you will be asked to translate with these variable pronouns and the genders and the number of people who are who the fi'l is being attributed to. So inshallah, this will be the most, and after you finish filling these both tables like 5 times, 10 times each, after this, inshallah, the most effective way is to use these sentences and translate them. This is how you will, inshallah, get hold of this these dhama'ir. Right, moving on now, we are done with muttasil, marfu' and muttasil, mansoob and majroor. Okay, so these are the ones that we are done with. We're done with yes. We are done with this, we're done with this, we are done with mustatir. What are we left with? We're left with munfasil, separate, marfu', and separate mansoob. These are the ones that we are left with. So let's do marfu' first. طيب بسم الله. طيب. Where do we use these ضمائر منفصل مرفوع? مرفوع is like when you say in English مثلا I, he, she, they, you know, it. These are the ones. Subjective pronouns, if I'm not wrong. I, he, she, they, it, us, or sorry, not us, we. See, us, you use that as an objective pronoun. You say I saw or he saw us, but you don't say us are going to the masjid. You say we are going to the masjid. See, so these are the munfasil marfu'. These are ضمائر منفصلة مرفوعة. Now, what are they? يعني, for one's own self, he uses the word ana, I, and we write an alif, but we don't read the alif. This alif is written. Why? Because that's how the Arabs wrote it, but it is not written ana. Okay, it's ana with a fatha on the noon. Alif is written but not read. There is a khilaf, yani, if it's supposed to be read or not. Yeah, it's a very big khilaf. And if you are stopping at the word ana, then are you supposed to say ana, or are you supposed to say ana with a fatha only? Some of the scholars have said that if you stop at ana, then you have to say ana, and if you don't stop at it, you're continuing, then you just have to say ana, with the fatha. This is an additional fact. طيب. أنت إيش معنى أنت يا شباب? And who is it used for?
You.
You, and for males or females? Masculine. طيب. هو, how will you translate هو?
He.
He. أحسنتم. نحن is, what is نحن in Arab, in English?
We. Two of us.
We. Two of us. We both and we all. We all, we both. For both we use نحن. طيب أنتما, you.
You both.
All, or we both. أحسنت. And أنتم, you all. So now you can start associating this meme with the males. Wherever there is this jama' of the males intended, wherever the males are intended in plural, you use this meme. Like huma, they both, and hum means they all. Now again, see, huwa became hum in order to refer to these people. You use the letter meme. طيب. نأتي الآن للمؤنث. مؤنث, as you know, for the first person, whether it's the فعل, whether it's the ضمائر متصلة مرفوعة, by فعل I mean ضمائر متصلة مرفوعة, or whether it is متصلة منصوبة, the females, they have the same pronouns for the first person. First person always remains the same. But when it comes to the second person, third person, that's where we have some variation. So if you are talking to a female and you want to say to her, you, how will you say to her you? You will say anti, type you. Type. For the dual form, they remain the same. Now let's come to the plural form. You are talking to a group of females, and how will you say you all? You will say an tunna. And now see, for the males, if you want to make a plural of them, you use the letter noon. For females, you're using noon shadda. So above, in the ضمائر متصلة منصوبة, you said ضرب كن من كن ضرب هن من هن. However, in here, likewise, أنتن. The Prophet ﷺ once said to his wives, when Aisha radiallahu anha didn't want people to take bad omen from Abu Bakr leading the prayers, because the Prophet ﷺ was ill and his condition was deteriorating. So she thought that if Abu Bakr leads the prayer and the Prophet ﷺ and his condition deteriorates, so people will start taking bad omen that Abu Bakr, and people associate things with some with they associate changes or how things develop with factors that are not really they don't have no influence, but they still sort of associate that. It was the days when Abu Bakr was leading that the condition of the Prophet ﷺ deteriorated. So she tried her best that Abu Bakr does not lead the prayers, Aisha radiallahu anha, so that people don't associate the deterioration of her husband's health, the Prophet ﷺ's health, with Abu Bakr. So she said that Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu is someone who cries a lot, and he can maybe he's not able to hold himself. So why not let Umar lead the prayer? She just wanted her father not to lead. So the Prophet ﷺ still insisted that Abu Bakr should lead the prayer. And then he said, Inna kunna la antunna sawahibu Yusufa. You all, inna kunna la antunna, inna kunna antunna la sawahibu Yusufa, or kama qala sallallahu alayhi wasallam, that you are just like the women of Yusuf alayhi salam. The women mentioned in the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, because just like they were plotting against Yusuf, just like they were very clever and sinister in their plans, so you all are also plotting against my decisions. You don't want Abu Bakr to lead, so you're plotting against it. So this is one example where inna kunna la antunna is used. So you can just look at the hadith, and I hope that I got the context of the hadith right. I think that was the context of this hadith. نعم إن كنا لأنتن صواحب يوسف وإن كنا أنتن لصواحب يوسف كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم. طيب كذلك when you want to say the word she, تقول هي, they both, for females it remains the same, and for them or they all, instead of saying hum you will say hun. طبعا all of this, there is nothing to explain here. The thing that you can point out here is things like meme and noon shadda that you can associate with the jam'. That's pretty much it. All it depends is on your memorization. So if you are ready to memorize this, if you invest enough time in memorizing it, then it's perfectly all right. And that's the only way you're going to learn this. There is no other way that you're supposed to explain it to you. It's all about memorizing this, inshallah. So far, inshallah, all of this is clear with Nillahi ta'ala.
Yes,
there is perhaps one, it might come to one's mind that when do we use these ضمائر منفصلة مرفوعة? So just to give you a slight idea of that sentences in Arabic are of two types. There is a nominal sentence, which is called jumla ismiya. And jumla ismiya means it has a subject, which is called mubtada, and then there is something that is called the predicate or the khabar. And khabar means you have the subject, and then there is something to tell about the subject. مثلا زيد قائم, like زيد قائم. Okay, so you have the subject and you have something to tell about it. Qa'im means he's standing. And this is where, as a mubtada, you can use all of these pronouns that we mentioned here. Huwa qa'im, hum qa'imun, wa hakadha. Okay, so that's where we use them. Now, when it comes to the other type of sentence, that is the verbal sentence, which is called jumla fi'liya. Then in jumla fi'liya, barakallahu feekum, we have something that is called fi'l, and then we look for a fa'il. So here in this sentence, you don't use these ضمائر منفصلة. What do you use here as a fa'il? Mostly you use ضمائر متصلة. So you're going to say فعل تو. So it's a متصل. You're not going to say فعل أنا. لا, you don't say this. That's not how you say it in Arabic. In Arabic, you have to say فعلت instead of saying فعل أنا. فعل هو خطأ. You're going to say just say فعل بس. You're going to say فعل أنت خطأ. You're going to say فعلت. This is wrong. You see? So when it comes to the verbs, then that is when you use the ضمائر متصلة مرفوعة. When it comes to nominal sentences, when we have مبتدا خبر, then the sentence starts with a ضمير منفصل مرفوع, like هو كذا أو أنت أو هي وهكذا. But when it comes to the فعل, the verb, you're not going to say فعلت or مثلا فعلهن. They all did. لا, you're going to say فعلنا. So that's a separate way that you're going to use it. Al-Muhim, this is just an introduction to where we will be using it, so that you just have an idea of the difference between the two. And both are marfu'. These two and these fa'alta and fa'alna and all of this is marfu'. And also huwa, hum, all of it is marfu'. However, it's not the same usage for both of them. One is used in one place, another is used in another place. This inshallah will become clear bi'idhnillahi ta'ala with time. Now let us move on to ضمائر منفصلة منصوبة. Inshallah, I will also suggest where they are, point out where they are used bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. طيب, what is ضمائر منفصلة منصوبة? منصوب, first of all, what was the meaning of منصوب? Can someone remind me? What was the meaning of منصوب?
Separate noun.
That was منفصل, منصوب. Important to know منصوب.
An object.
Object, ممتاز. Objective form. These are very important terms, Shabab. Right now, I know that we haven't really learned what is rafa', nasab, and jar, and that is because we haven't yet learned the different roles there are for the words and sentences. If we learn that, then we are going to, inshallah, move on to the other matters. But it's important to know that marfu', when I say marfu', when I use the word marfu', it means subjective forms. When I say mansoob, that means objective. Note this down, because that is a term that we have been very often been using it. And majroor means it's also like objective, but it is used with, just for now, just say it's used with a preposition. Okay? So mansoob, ya shabab, objective forms. So there are some objective pronouns that are separate. They come separate. And very easy to memorize. These all, they only have this addition of iya, and the rest is just like the ضمائر منفصلة, ضمائر متصلة منصوبة. So if you just have a look at this table that we had on the previous page, you see ضربني, مني, ضربك, ضربه, ضربنا, ضربكما, ضربهما. You see that the red colored pronouns, they remain the same here. The only addition that we have here, barakallahu fikum, is the addition of iya, but that's it. Okay, that's the only addition that we have. So there is nothing to explain here. It's just how it's used. These are the barakallahu fikum nahwa. Zoom out a little bit. So now, this is pretty much the same as the ضمائر متصلة منصوبة. متصلة means that are connected. It's just a usage of these both. So if مثلا, now let me just clarify for you where they are used. So for example, with verbs, if you want to mention the object, like I kicked the ball. I kicked the ball. Now the object is mentioned after the verb, right? The verb was mentioned first, the object was mentioned second. So if you want to mention the object after the verb, you will use ضمير متصل منصوب. So you're going to say ضرب ضربني. This is متصل, attached. If you want to, now where are you going to use ضمير منفصل منصوب? منفصل separate, and these ones إيايا, إيانا, where are you using it? You're going to use it when you want to mention the object before the verb. The ball I kicked it. Okay, you want to mention the مثلا the object before it, or you want to say مثلا, want to say in English, it is the ball that I kicked. So you mentioned the object before the word, right? So if you want to do this with these pronouns, so if you want to say that, oh Allah, it is you who we worship. So you say Iyaka. Iyaka na'bud. Why did you use this? Because you wanted to mention the object before the verb. If you wanted to mention the object after the verb, then we wouldn't have used these, because these are used when you have to mention the object before the verb. But if you wanted to use the object after the verb, then you would have used one of the ضمائر متصلة منصوبة. Then you would have said نعبدك. Okay? If you wanted to say only Allah, it's only Him that we worship. So what will you say in Arabic? You will say in Arabic, Iyyahu na'bud. It is only He, it is Him that we worship. But if you just want to say that we worship Him, you want to mention the object after the word, then you will say na'buduhu. You will not use na'budu iyyahu. You see? Another place where these ضمائر منفصلة منصوبة are used when there is a gap between the object and the verb. So in Arabic, generally, you're not supposed to leave a gap between the object and the verb. You're supposed to attach it to the verb. But sometimes, like for example, if there is there's an exclusion. So you want to say that I don't worship except Allah. We don't worship anyone except Him. وَلَا نَعْبُدُ إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ. Now what happened here, we had this verb, but we wanted to use except, the word except, which is in Arabic illa, and because of which there was a gap between the verb and the object. There was this sort of separation. The illa separated the verb from the object. Now, because it was separated from the verb, we were forced to use iyyahu. You see, because it was separated. So if it wasn't separated by illa, you would have used the muttasil mansub. We would have said na'budu. Na'budu. Understood? These are some of the usages of this. But right now, it is not important to learn where to use them and how to use them. What is important is to learn what they are. Once you learn what they are and memorize, then with time, inshallah, you will develop the sense of using them, inshallah. واضح يا إخوان? So right now, I'm giving you the usage so that you get the motivation of learning them. Yani there is some place where we are supposed to use them. There is practical application of this, but it doesn't mean that you have to know how to use it right now. What is required of you at this stage is to memorize all of these. But if you don't know how to use them, ما في مشكلة لا ضير عليك. لكن the first ones, the ضمائر متصلة, those are things that you must know how to use, because they are things that you bring and that are supposed to be brought into use every day. You see, these asalib like وَلَا نَعْبُدُ إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ, these are there in the Quran. Sometimes you can do without this as well. You can say نَعْبُدُهُ فَقَط, only Him. So you can sort of get your point across without using this uslub. But the first ones, the ضمائر متصلة مرفوعة, the subjective attached pronouns and the objective attached pronouns, they must be memorized as well as practiced, how to bring them into use, how to use them. And what is the most effective way of practicing them? Firstly, to fill those tables 5-10 times. And secondly, take these different sentences, a list of different sentences, try to express them in Arabic. Take a number of women having hit 1 man, a number of women having hit 2 men, a number of women having hit 3 men. You all women hit him. You all women hit me. So this will, inshallah, teach you how to use these different ضمائر متصلة and ضمائر متصلة مرفوعة and متصلة منصوبة. طيب. ننتقل الآن إلى القسم الثاني من المعرفة. So if we go back to the معرفة, now let me take back all of you to where we started from. We started from كلمة. الكلمة was اسم, فعل, and حرف. Then اسم had a lot of classifications. The first classification was مذكر مؤنث. Second classification was مفرد مثنى and جمع. And the third classification was معرفة and nakira. In ma'rifah, we said ma'rifah is also of 6 types, which are mentioned here. We are done with damir, with the different pronouns. Now we move on to alam, something that is called alam. And we mentioned before that alam is the proper noun. It's the name of proper noun. Proper nouns, names of people, names of animals, مثلا, names of places. These are proper nouns. طيب, إذن ننتقل الآن إلى العلم ونقرأ. طيب, من يقرأ لنا اليوم؟ نعم يا اخوان، من يقرأ؟
I can read إن شاء الله.
نعم تفضل يا أخي، بارك الله فيك.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. أما بعد، قال المصنف حفظه الله: العلم. وأما العلم فهو نحو محمد وأحمد ومكة وطيبة والقصواء وهكذا. اسم الإشارة.
يعني here علم, we did not have a lot of big explanation for this. All we had was a number of examples. Names of people. First 2 example, names of people. Any proper nouns for the people. Names of places. Names of animals. And if you have something that you have given it a name, some people have things, they give their cars some name, you see, because they love their cars, so they give it a name. They have a key, they give the key a name. They might have a, some tool that you use, and they might give it a name. That would also be considered a proper noun. So that's all that alam is. Proper nouns. Muhammad, Ahmad, Makkah, Taiba, Qaswa, names of persons, places, animals, whatever. Now, اقرأ اسم الإشارة.
اسم الإشارة. وأما اسم الإشارة فهو نحو ذلك وأولئك، وينقسم إلى مذكر ومؤنث، وكل منهما ينقسم إلى بعيد وقريب.
طيب الآن اسم الإشارة. What did we call اسم الإشارة in English?
Demonstrative pronoun.
Demonstrative pronoun, right? What a noun? Is it called demonstrative pronoun or noun in English? I'm not sure. I'm just asking.
It's demonstrative.
Yes, it's demonstrative, but it's demonstrative pronoun or noun?
Noun. It's
noun. Okay. Noun. Thank you. Yeah, now. So in English, what do we use for this function? We use words like this and that, and these, and those. See? And this and that, these and those. That's the only ones that I can remember now. This and that, and for plurals, these and those. Likewise, in Arabic, we have words that perform the same function, but they are classified in terms of their gender and whether they are qarib or ba'id. And they are also classified in terms of the singular and plural, in terms of the number they are in. So if they are this one in number, then you will use the word dha, like hadha or dhalika. If there are two, then you will use dhani, hadhani, or dhanika. And if there are more than that, then you will use ulai, and like haulai or ulaika. Okay, so let's move on. Let's learn them, inshallah. And all of this requires memorization. All of it requires memorization. طيب. إذن يا إخوان, for مذكر, masculine demonstrated nouns. For qarib, something that is one, singular. هذا. For بعيد, ذلك. طيب. For masculine nouns. يعني هذا كتاب. This is a book. ذلك كتاب. That is a book. You see? وهكذا. طيب. مثنى, for a dual form, if you want to point out to something that is nearby, you will use هذان or هذين, depending on their role in the sentence. And if it's something that is بعيد, then you will use ذانك or ذينك, depending on the role in the sentence. For جمع, you use هؤلاء, and that's how هؤلاء is written. That is how it's written, and even though we read an alif, we don't write an alif. That's how the Arabs have written it. هؤلاء. طيب, الجمع هؤلاء. And this is for the nearby objects, these. This is also these two. And هذا means this. ذلك is that. Those two, masculine, and these. Oh, sorry. Those all. Those all. Those two and those all. Okay. هذه is for the feminine nouns. This. مثل هذه سيارة. هذه قارورة. And تلك is for that. هاتان, these two. هؤلاء, these all. It's the same as the masculine nouns. Here we have a difference of dhal and ta. You can notice this. Dhal and ta. This is what's wrong with this thing? Subhanallah, ايش المشكلة؟ طيب. And likewise, dhanika becomes tanika, tainika, depending on its role in the sentence. Ulaika remains the way it is. These, those. This is for ba'id. Those, all, and tanika is those two, feminine or masculine, females. المهم شباب, هنا this is طبعا supposed to be memorized, and then you are supposed to sort of put them into practice using certain sentences. But there's something that I wanted to point out here, and that was that in these the ones for the qarib, the ones that we use for qarib, here the demonstrative noun itself, it only is the. This is not part of the demonstrative noun. Yes, it is very commonly used for qarib, but this is not part of the noun itself. It's a separate word. This ha, we call it ha. We call it ha at-tanbih. Ha at-tanbih. Yani ha, just like in English we say, we use the word lo. Lo and behold, right? That's the sort of ha that we use at times in Arabic. فيقول ها مقرأ كتابي, or ha is different طبعا. ها مقرأ كتابي, but like ha is called ha tanbih. It's a word that is used to bring pull the attention of the listener. But it's very often used with the qareeb, and that's why we make it a part of it so that a beginner student does not become confused that I learned in the book the, but most people are using hada, so which one is correct? No, it's actually the, that is the demonstrative noun, and ha is in addition to it, which is called ha at-tanbih or harf at-tanbih, that is to bring the attention of the listener. But that's how the qareeb mostly, that's how we use it. So even if you use only the, that's correct. And if someone who has lived amongst Arabs, you will find them sometimes using only that. I think wish that. You wouldn't like this. They say like wish that. Wish that يعني أيش that. What is this? And what is this? So they, instead of saying wish هذا, say wish that. And what's this? So they usually use that. Many times they use that without ha. So ha, it's not part of the demonstrative noun. Yes, it is very often used with it, but it's not part of it. This is just for the clarity of the concept. Likewise, haulai, hadani, hatani, the ha here, ha with the alif. With the alif. See, in hatan you write the alif. In hadan you don't write the alif. Even though in both you read the alif. This is also something to point out. So that is the asal. These are additional letters. The real demonstrative noun is the. Okay, the. Now the. Now in order to make it two, we added an alif noon here, hakada. Here the real demonstrative noun is ulai. That's the real demonstrative noun. That's why sometimes you find in the Quran, ha antum ulai tuhibbunahum wa la yuhibbunakum. Ha antum ulai, ha antum ulai comes with what, ya Akhi Abu Bakr? Ha antum ulai. This is the ayah in which you don't have ha in the next word.
Yes.
Ha
I think
antum
that
ulai
in Surah
tuhibbunahum.
Ali Imran, right?
اي نعم exactly. ها انتم اولئك تحبونهم ولا يحبونكم. ها انتم اولئك. طيب. So here see this ayah here in the Quran which mentions ha antum. Now what is ha here? Harf tanbih. Antum ulai. Allah did not say in this ayah ha ulai. In another ayah ha antum ha ulai. يعني جادلتم فيما لكم به علم. But here Allah only used the word ulai. Ha antum ulai tuhibbuna. What does this mean? Yani ha is for tanbih, yani to bring the attention of the listener. Antum, yani you all, that's the subject of the sentence. And ulai, this I was very confused in this for a number of months when I was thinking about it until I referred to some of the tafsir. And it said ya haula. It means like ya haula. And just like when you say in Arabic ya hada, hey, hey you, hey you. So hey you, in Arabic you don't say hey, ya anta. You say ya hada, hey you. You see? Not in a root sense, but like if you want to call upon someone who's like in front of you, say ya hada, ta'ala. Hey you. So likewise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, here, when he says ulai, it means ya haulai, or you. Ha antum, or you people. Allah is calling upon them as well to bring their attention. Tuhibbuna. See, there are a couple of now articles used to get the attention of the listener. Ha and then ulai. So now you're listening very careful. Then Allah says tuhibbunahum wa la yuhibbunakum. You love them, they don't love you. Wa tu'minuna bil kitabi kullihi. And you all believe in the whole of the book. As for them, وَإِذَا لَقُوكُمْ قَالُوا آمَنَّا وَإِذَا خَلَوْا عَضُّوا عَلَيْكُمُ الْأَنَامِلَ مِنَ الْغَيْظِ. But these munafiqeen whom you love and they don't love you back, when they are alone, when they are in front of you, they say, okay, we have believed. When they are alone, they, out of their, out of the wrath that they have for whatever success that you are getting, they almost, eat their fingers. عَضُّوا عَلَيْكُمُ الْأَنَامِلَ مِنَ الْغَيْظِ. They bite their fingertips and out of the rage and wrath. that they have for the success that you're getting. قُلْ مُوتُوا بِغَيْظِكُمْ, die of your rage, إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلِيمٌ بِذَاتِ الصُّدُورِ. So the munafiqeen, they exist in our times as well. Subhanallah, so many munafiqeen who have names just as those of Muslims, but they do whatever they have in their capacities to stop the spread of Islam, to stop the implementation of Islam. Sometimes they are very, subhanallah, explicit in their war against Islam. They say, and they give it new names. They start with saying there is nothing like political Islam. What do they mean by political Islam? They mean something particular. They mean that there should be no interference of Sharia with politics. And in politics, let me be free. Let me follow the way of Shaitan. Let us rule by whatever law we want. And let's not let the Sharia judge and tell us what to do. And they do this by using, this is, subhanAllah, very audacious to say that there is nothing like political Islam and we want to fight political Islam. Ma'adallah. It's very audacious to use a term that has something related to Islam and say that we want to fight it. And most of such people who say this stuff and they openly say that we want to fight political Islam, and their intention by this is they want to fight the implementation of Sharia or the interference of Sharia or dictation of Sharia, what is wrong, what is wrong. This is, wallahi, this statement is kufr. This statement is kufr. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from this fitna. But subhanallah, Muslims having Muslim names, and they have the audacity to, subhanallah, say this. Wallahi, shay mu'sif, it's so sad. Nasallallahu al-afiyah was-salam. But this is how the nature is. When Muslims are weak, then you find the munafiqeen, very active, and you find the munafiqeen actively, working against Islam and being very explicit in their agendas and intentions. And when Islam becomes strong, then they go into their caves. طيب. فهذا these are the أسماء الإشارة, demonstrative nouns, and this can be used with a number of words, inshallah. But first, I want you to practice the ضمائر متصلة, مرفوعة, متصلة, منصوبة. I want you to practice it a lot, and then inshallah we can give you some exercise for the أسماء الإشارة, demonstrative nouns. So you can write مثلا هذا كتاب, and you can say هذان كتابان. طبعا for kitab, the issue is, when it comes to the jama' of kitab, it is treated like a singular feminine noun. So you're going to say هذه كتب. It's very uncommon to say هؤلاء كتب, because the jama' of غير عاقل things that are not عاقل, their jama' is treated like a singular feminine noun. So whenever you want to use هؤلاء, better use some human, you say هؤلاء رجال, هؤلاء رجال, هكذا. طيب. And likewise for feminine nouns, you can say هذه امرأة, this is a woman. هاتان امرأتان, وهؤلاء نساء. And the same you can use for ذلك رجل, وذلك رجلان, وهؤلاء أولئك رجال, هذه امرأة, هاتان تلك امرأة, تلك امرأتان, وأولئك نساء. This is the sort of exercise with different objects and different humans, different roles, you can inshallah put into practice. طيب. نبدأ الآن الاسم الموصول. اقرأ يا أخي بارك الله فيك.
الاسم الموصول. وأما الاسم الموصول فهو نحو من وما والذي وتوابعه. فأما من فإنه يختص بالعاقل ويشترك فيه المذكر والمؤنث والمفرد والمثنى والجمع. وأما ما فإنه يختص بغير العاقل وهو مثل سالفه يشترك فيه المذكر والمؤنث والمفرد والمثنى والجمع. وأما الذي وتوابعه فإنها تستخدم للعاقل وغير العاقل، إلا أن صيغها تختلف باختلاف الجنس والعدد.
أحسنت. الاسم الموصول in English what do we call it? Call it relative noun. Relative noun يعني like in the sentence when you say I saw the one who is responsible. So who here is a relative noun. That's the sense in which we use the al-ism al-mawsool. And the ism al-mawsool is like there are three asma mawsoola. The primary asma mawsoola. There is ma. Ma is usually used for something that is not aqil. So you say ma hadha. What is this? What is this? So this is what. Man is who. Yeah, and like in English, who we use for aqil, someone who is a human, right? And ma hadha is for غير عاقل. Man hadha who. Yeah, this is for who, for aqil. And they can be used for feminine nouns, for masculine nouns, both of them, for a number of things, for one thing. And that is why we said here فأما ما فإنه يختص. First of all, أما الاسم الموصول فهو نحو من وما والذي وتوابع. توابع things and the words that follow it, the different types of الذي. فأما من, as for man, فإنه يختص. يختص from خصوص, something that is خاص. So in English we can say the one that is exclusive to. That's exclusive to عاقل, man. So man is only used for عاقل. ويشترك فيه. يشترك يعني share something. Who shares it? مذكر and مؤنث, both share it. مفرد مثنى جمع, all three of them share it. So you can say مثلا من هذا, من هذان, من هؤلاء. All of them man. ما هذا, ما هذان, ما هؤلاء الأشياء. طيب. But for غير عاقل. Likewise, من هذه, من هاتان, من هؤلاء النساء, ما هذه, ما هاتان, وما هؤلاء. So you see, for all of them, you're using man and ma. طيب. ما also we said فإنه يختص, exclusive to غير العاقل, وهو مثل سالفه. إيش معنى سالف? What is the meaning of salif?
Proceed.
Something that has preceded. We did this word a few days ago. We said kama salafa or المهم we did the word salif or salaf last, maybe in the third class. That salif means something that has preceded. ومثل سالفي. What is the salif of man? The one that we mentioned just before. So it's just like it. يشترك فيه المذكر المؤنث المفرد المثنى والجمع. In this sense, it's just like ma, just like man. The only difference is that man is for عاقل and ma is for غير العاقل. أما الذي, as for الذي. So when you use الذي, بارك الله فيكم, is the definition common for both ما استفهامية ما موصولة? Yes, ما استفهامية in reality is ما موصولة. ما استفهامية, even though when we come to the i'rab we say اسم استفهام, in reality it's ما موصولة. It's the same thing, same usage, same sense, but it's just sometimes you're using it as a question, just like in English. Who can be used when asking a question, who is this, and who can be used as a relative noun as well. So I saw the one who hit me. I saw the one who runs this place. I saw the thing that was on the floor, or I saw what was on the floor. You see, I saw what was on the floor. What here is a relative noun. So sometimes you can use it what, and mostly it's used as questions, and just like in English. So just like in English, all of these awsaf, the different traits and qualities that we discussed here, they are the same for when you're asking a question and when you are using it as a relative noun. It depends when you're doing the i'rab. Maybe if it is being used as a question, you're going to say ma istifhamiyya instead of saying that it's ma mawsula. So that depends. That is when you're doing the i'rab. That's inshallah we're going to learn that later on. As for alladhi, which also means مثلا who or what, but it is different in usage. So it varies with the gender. تختلف باختلاف الجنس, gender, and it also varies with the number, عدد. You see? Is it time for Isha? I guess it's going to be time for Isha in a while. No, it's actually about to be time for Isha. طيب. Inshallah نقف هنا يعني بعد. Let me just show you the table of الذي, and it's very easy. وبيان ذلك بالتفصيل كالآتي. So for مذكر, I'm going to use الذي for مفرد, التي for مؤنث. For مثنى مفرد, اللذان, اللذين, depending on the role in the sentence, and for مؤنث اللتان or اللتين. And for جمع الذين, I saw those people who were مثلا responsible. رأيت الذين يعني كانوا يقولون. And for مؤنث اللاتي. طيب. So these are the different يعني توابع of الذي. طبعا يحتاج إلى حفظ and مراجعة. All of this requires us to memorize it, and that's the most important thing in all of them. المعرف بأل inshallah we'll start from here tomorrow in the next class, because that is an easy one. Then comes something that is a little difficult, as it is exclusive to Arabic language. يعني you don't find something exactly like this in other languages. In other languages, for mudaf, you use some different أسلوب and phrases. So inshallah نقف هنا ونكتفي بهذا القدر. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. من عنده سؤال فليسأل. If someone has a question, they can ask. بارك الله فيكم. يظهر أنه لا توجد أسئلة, and one of the reasons why there is no question, because all of this there is less to understand, more to memorize. So inshallah, once we pass this phase of memorization, then inshallah we will busy ourselves with understanding it better. بإذن الله تعالى. نقف هنا. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.